Well, but that phrase, the taming power of love, it makes me think, as I was reading up on or watching interviews that you've done about the varieties of psychedelic experience and how dreams are a psychedelic experience that everybody can relate to that might be afraid of drugs. And I think religious experiences and stuff like that. What do you think about love being like the ultimate psychedelic experience?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So so now I'll say, so I took MDMA by myself. I totally agree. And I took MDMA by myself in 1985, camping out all night. And this was on the edge of the Pacific Ocean in Big Sur. And so the mountain came down right behind me.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of boulders out in the ocean. And so the high tide came around me, but I had this little perch where I was protected from the water. But the water was around, very close. And the sky is incredible. The stars there are amazing. There's not much light. And I was working with Brother David Steindl-Rast, who's a Roman Catholic monk. He's a kind of mystic, and he's very ecumenical, but he was willing to try MDMA. I met him in 82 and MDMA was still legal. He was willing to try MDMA in the monastery in half doses as an aid to meditation. It quiets your mind. You can really focus. And if you have this deep moment, you can sometimes learn how to do that on your own without the drug. That's the idea of the therapy. You have this experience and then you integrate it without the drug. And so Brother David was very much finding value in MDMA. There was one other monk that was using MDMA. At one point, Father Bruno, who was the father of the monastery, came and he said he wanted to have a meeting with me. And he said, "What are my monks doing with your drugs?" But I explained it to him, and he said, "Okay." He let it continue.
Nice.
Which was amazing. So
Big Sur, man, you can't beat it.
Big Sur is totally right. Yeah, it's the Kamal Dali's monastery. It's beautiful by Lucia, a little bit south of Big Sur. So, in any case, I'm thinking, why would somebody want to be a monk, and why would you want to have a celibate life, and what the like? So I'm camping out. And I had this sense like the enormity of the universe and how I would just disappear. Like the stars are enormous, the roaring of the ocean. And I kept thinking, I'm just going to disappear into this. Why? And after a while of this kind of merging of all of this, I realized I'm still here. And I'm like, well, why am I still here? And then I had this feeling that I was here because of gravity. And that gravity was sort of holding us together. And then I had the sense that gravity is the force of love. So that's how it relates to your question. That this essence of gravity was this cohering, this love. And I actually felt that I was cradled in the arms of gravity. And it was as if it was a lover. It was as personal and as human and as warmth emotionally as a lover, but it was gravity.
Wow.
And this was the most mystical experience I've ever had of my life. And I felt that love is woven into everything in the universe. And it made it, I never was as lonely. I didn't have a relationship at the time. I was all on my own. And it sort of cured a certain kind of loneliness. And now 30 years after that, I was at a conference that Brother David was speaking at. And I was sitting next to him at dinner. And I've kept in touch on and off with him. But this was a great opportunity to talk. And so I said, the most mystical experience of my life, it was thinking about you. And I just want to share with you, what you think about it. And I said, first off, I kind of realized that this warmth of this experience, part of being a monk is like, you don't have romances stuff so that you connect with everybody or everything. So you don't personalize it. It's everything. But then I said, it was about gravity and cradled in the arms of gravity. That was my insight. And then he was quiet for a moment. And then he said, I think about gravity every day.
Wow.
It took me 30 years to get that. But Oteil, I think that concept that love is woven into everything there's a lot to that. And I think if you can tune into that, you can try to be compassionate about people that are doing things you don't necessarily like, or how do we tune into that loving approach, even in the midst of crisis or danger or
It's
tyrants.
interesting you tie it to gravity, because I always am reminded of it was a movie. The title was The Unbearable Lightness of Being.
Yes.
And I remember how much that phrase struck me, because the times that I felt despair or hopelessness or severe anxiety, I felt like I didn't have gravity, like I could blow away like a leaf. I felt untethered. And I never really associated gravity with like comfort necessarily, like on the surface. That's weird. It's interesting.
Yeah. We would just be atoms disconnected and off into infinite emptiness.
Yeah, but I never tied it to love or safety or now you got it. It's crazy. I mean, you think there must have been something like telepathic going on for him to, you know, be thinking about gravity every day, and you like tuned into that and just like, that's amazing, man.
Yeah.